This is Dabu 7. This incident here that just took place this morning was involving an Apache helicopter that has crashed near Houston. Now, this was actually in the Galveston Bay of Texas. This is 25 miles southeast of Houston, and it was right there on the coastline. And what's very interesting is there was a witness to all of this, and he tells the account of him fishing, and this chopper crashed right where he fishes. And luckily, he caught some fish and they moved out of that area. But this guy's lived down there for a long time. He states that this chopper was on a routine flight pattern. He says he sees it all the time, always goes down, same pattern, flies down through the coast. The Army is stating that it went down, and they're saying nothing else at the moment besides the two people on board are dead. They're saying that those two guys were both veterans that flew this aircraft for years, one from the area, the other from out of town. And as the guy explains this, he says they flew down, came down the coast. He was fishing. He heard the chopper, looked up, seen it, went back to fishing, heard an explosion. He looked up in the air and he witnessed this chopper come down and hit the water. This is what's interesting. This thing exploded in the sky. This is per the witness on the ground. You guys can come over here and watch the whole thing. He explains everything, word for word. Hear what he's got to say. Then they found a severed foot. That's when they knew that probably there was no survivors. The chopper, when it came to arrest, was upside down in the water with the landing gear sticking up out. And the blades apparently came off and stuck in the ground right there on the coast. So there's an ongoing investigation. But I've never heard of or known of an Apache to ever just blow up midair on a routine flight. So there may be more to this, and you have to ask the question, what really happened here? Because I mean, these things are designed to go into battlefronts and everything else. What made it explode? Okay, I want you guys to remember the details that comes from the witness, the sole witness on the ground that watched this whole thing unfold and that discovered a severed foot. Rest in peace to the guys that went down on this aircraft, that were just out there doing their job. A normal routine flight, as the military is stating. But for some reason, this Apache exploded on the coast, and it raises questions. I mean, this guy doesn't say that he had witnessed, anyone else out there, or like someone fired something at it potentially, because if it's going to explode in the air, you have to ask what caused it. Was it struck by something? Some kind of weapon? As I think about this guy says that, he's lived down here all this time, and he sees this aircraft go on the same flight pattern all the time. All the time. So if he was keen to what this chopper was doing on a routine basis, well, it kind of gives away where and when it's going to be somewhere. And, this is down there very close to the border. Let's hope that it wasn't something like that. Only other thing that I could see is they're going to say it's some kind of malfunction, but then you would have to be dealing with the fuel tank and everything else. And what components on the chopper could just explode midair besides the fuel tank? Unless it had weapons on it that exploded. Why would they have the chopper armed with weapons there, going over residential areas and everything else? Just a lot of different questions floating around with this one, but I'm glad we had a witness on the ground that saw every bit of it. Saw the thing hit the ground, found a severed foot. What caused it to explode is the question. So stay tuned for more. This is one we're going to have to get to the bottom of, and we'll see what comes of it. But rest in peace once again to the guys that died in this. They have not released any names yet, As I get that information, I'll continue to update. And if you have any info pertaining to this or anything else, let me know. Dabu7@yahoo.com. Make sure you're following me on Twitter for the latest updates. Much love.